start with a brief opening statement, and I'll open up to questions.
Just we made some adjustments in our ball screen coverages based on the way GW plays on offense, and I thought our guys were as attentive and as disciplined to adjustments as we've been all year. I gave them, I don't even know, today's Wednesday, I gave them Monday off because I thought we were, like against LaSalle, we won, but we were tired going into that game, and we played tired. So I gave them Monday off, and then yesterday we practiced them, but I didn't stress them mentally or physically because I was really concerned. And if you pay attention to the way the game started, we looked like a tired team early in the game. Offensively, shooting air balls, not getting the basketballs. But where our team has grown tremendously is we've learned how to manage those moments in games. Now we keep defending. We don't let teams go on 12-0 runs or 15-1 runs like we did earlier in the year. And then offensively, we don't have guys play hero basketball. When we're struggling to score, we got guys that are continuing to try to play through structure and pass the ball to each other. It's given us a chance to become a good basketball team. So I guess that's, I don't know, 3 in a row that we've won, 4 or 5, and now we got 2 on the road. You know, can't worry about February the 1st. We talked about it the other day. By the way, I got, who did you ask me the question? Who asked me the question about, and I gave the analogy of running a marathon. Somebody asked me, I said, on mile 12. Yeah, so I got destroyed by friends in the business about me talking about marathons. Like I got any idea what it's like to run it. So maybe I'll say the 40-yard dash. So if I worry about the 40th yard when I'm on yard number 5, I'm in trouble. So, but.
How do you mentally get over a slow start, you know, like they did? What did you tell them in the under 16 timeout or 12 timeout? I think you only had 6 points through the first 9 minutes of the game.
Yeah, I told them, I said, we're getting layups, you got to make them. You know, you can't go 0 for layups. Sometimes you don't make threes. You got to rebound when you don't make threes. But you can't go 0 for layups. Those when you miss layups and free throws, those are deflating plays. Those you work. It's really hard to get to the foul line. It's really hard to get the ball near the rim to score. So when you get to those places and you don't convert, it's hard. But eventually we did. We started making some of them, but the most important part, what I kept telling the guys, I said, keep defending, keep defending, keep defending. And we kept doing. I know we got down, I don't know, 20-12 or something like that, somewhere in there. I don't know what the score was, but we were still. They got good players. They're going to score, but we continued to defend. And eventually, when the ball started going in, the fact that we continued to defend and gave us courage to go make more shots, for lack of better words.
You guys are now 20th in the country in offensive rebounding, and Malik was at the center of it today. He had 4 offensive rebounds, so he was really resilient under glass. How has your trust in him grown over these past few games? He seems to be kind of finding himself just as a big man, not necessarily in scoring, but just really asserting himself as a big man in terms of rebounds and just doing the stuff that a center needs to do.
Yeah, I thought his ball screen defense. I mean, Shaheed made a mistake today in our defensive assignments. Malik made a couple. He made one real bad mistake early in the second half on ball screen coverage. They don't drag their head. It's my job to correct when people mess up. It's not their uncle or their cousin or their AAU coach. It's my job. So when they screw something up, it's my job to correct because that prevents us from winning. We have to eliminate those mess-ups. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Early in the year, those guys are new. They don't like getting corrected. It's part. My kids are their age. They don't like getting corrected. That's that generation. Because they got so much information, they think they got all the answers, but they haven't lived life to understand how to utilize information. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So I'm not as over the top as I used to be because it's my job as an educator to understand their life so I can comprehend how to coach them so they can grow. Back 10 years ago, everybody was wired differently. So I can lose my mind when people mess things up and nobody pouted. Well, now it's a little different. So I have to find the patience, me, that's my challenge, so I can comprehend them and continue to get them to get better. Malik has accepted that. Shahid's starting to accept that. We lose sight of the fact that Shahid has been to 3 schools in 3 years, and he only started playing basketball 5 years ago. You lose sight of the fact that Malik, even though he was on a Division I roster last year, never checked in the game. And now we're asking him to produce at the Atlantic 10 like he's a career 14-10 guy. Takes time. And those guys are really, they've really grown up and are starting to embrace success. We're not there yet, but we're starting to, they're helping us. That's the fun part of doing this, when you watch guys get better.
Coach, Jalen and Rasul had 2 4-point conversions, 1 in each half. How did that really help gain momentum going through the game?
Yeah, I mean, give them credit. I mean, you know, for a team that doesn't make a lot of threes, Jalen's been excited about it. I'm gonna say this about Jalen Curry. Like, everybody wants to be a point guard until you're the point guard, and then you're like, oh my God, what have I got myself into? And like, everybody wants to be a head coach until you're a head coach, and then you're like, why did I sign up for this job? And you know, Jalen is going through that. There's a big difference being a guy that shoots the ball in high school to being a college point guard. Big difference. And he's starting to comprehend, and he's defending, and he's active, and he's running our offense. He's getting guys where they belong, and then he's a good player. So now what happens is, because he's doing those things, he feels better. So now the ball's starting to go in for him. And then Rasul's Rasul. I mean, he's I don't mean to keep beating a dead horse, because I'm not trying to punish the ones that aren't like him. But coaching college basketball, it was about guys like Rasul. He did transfer. Okay, why? Because he didn't have success where he was at. He felt he needed to change. Now he went somewhere else, and he didn't have much success when he got here. But he's dug in and grown. And now he's he's a father. Now he's preparing himself to have success. So as a dad, when that kid comes home and says, hey, my teacher, whatever, he's not going to say, well, your teacher don't know what she's doing or he's doing. You know, he's better prepared to handle that moment as a parent, because he's grown through his college experience. And but that's, you know, those 2 guys are 2 good players, and they can both score.
Coach, you just mentioned that you're a team that doesn't necessarily shoot threes well. You only shot 13 of them tonight, but 6 went in. That's almost 50%. How does that change the way opposing teams defend you when your shots aren't falling?
I'm trying to give you credit. You're the one that asked me after we beat New Hampshire, aren't you worried that only 1 guy made threes? I'm trying to give you credit. I thought it was you. I thought it was you. I'm trying to give you credit. Like, I'm trying to give you credit that you were right after the first game of the season, and I was probably wrong. I mean, no, we took good. We've taken good threes all year. We're not jacking threes up. It's not. And even if we had 3 really good shooters, believe me, we still wouldn't be jacking threes. Okay. You see what's happened to Golden State?
They started the year hot, not so much anymore.
That's not what I asked you.
What, they lost by 40 to the Celtics?
They can't make layups. They can't get to the foul line. So how many threes they shooting these days?
A lot.
And not making. It's hard. You got to win when they were rolling, they won in the paint. Now they can't score in the paint. They can't get to the foul line. Steve Kerr just said it. And so all of a sudden their 3-point percentage is not any good. And so, you know, it's all part of it. But we're taking good threes. I honestly, I thought we made a season high threes when the game ended, because we made like 4 of them in the last 5 minutes of the game. So I was like, God, how many we make? 10? 6. I was like,
Jalen and Jaden were here earlier, and I asked them about what the energy has been from their perspective over this past 3 games. It seems like teams were unified or working together. From a coach's perspective, how has the energy grown amongst them, and how has the camaraderie of the team grown over this 3-game streak?
yeah, that takes time to build, man. Like everyone, like if I'm fighting that in the summer and in September and October, I might as well call my boss and say, hey, I'm done. Because that means it's going to be a miserable experience during the season. These guys got along before the season started. These guys practiced and worked really hard before the season started. But when you got so many new guys, the season makes it hard. And it takes time to get guys to respect each other and trust one another. That doesn't happen because you and I walk. You sign with UMass and I sign with UMass. That don't mean you and I are trusting each other when we show up on campus. That's not the way it works. That takes time. We started getting better after Florida State. I know there's a lot of people watch that game, including me, on the sideline, and said, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? But, you know, my staff's been real good in keeping me in a good space. They've been real good in keeping our players in a good space. And I think after that game, our players finally realized, like, we better start doing some stuff differently. And we've gotten better. We're up 5. Arizona State's pretty good. Like, we're up 5 halfway through the second half against Arizona State. But we went through one of those dry spells and we stopped guarding. You know, that's where we've grown tremendously, and we continue to get better. What's that mean? I got no idea. My job is to make our players better. My job is to get our team to get better. Does that mean we're going to win 12 league games? I don't know. And if I start worrying about that, we're back to my marathon story. It's a miserable experience. We got to worry about, I don't even know, we got a week off. I need the 2 days. We got Rhodey at Rhodey, which is a hard place to play at. Hard place to play at. And they got a good team. And Archie's got them playing his kind of basketball. It's going to be a really hard game. We've been tired. I just said it. We can't go in there and win on the road kind of lethargic. We have to be on our P's and Q's, and we got to be real solid. Yeah. You want to, I don't know, what?
Can we get the last one?
I don't know you, brother, and you've been trying to ask a question, so I don't want you to leave here. Yeah. I don't see you, let me rephrase what I just said. I don't see you covering the team in here at press conferences. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Coach, you had a lot of players on the other team with only 2 or 1 shots made. You had the last game on a 22-point, finish. So what's the message? What's the culture you implement these players to be so amazing on defense day in and day out?
It's through my coaching career, everyone views me as this defensive coach. Why? Because any good coach will tell you that if you want to win, not win a game, if you want to compete for championships, you better be good defensively. If not, you got 0 chance. 0. Okay? So we've tried to build our team every year through our defense. We're starting to defend better. I don't think a single league team has shot 40% from the field against us. St. Joe's might have shot 40. I think they shot 40.8 or something like that. But other than that, everyone else has been under 40. What we've done is we cleaned up our fouls. We're fouling too much. So now we're not putting guys on the line every 3 plays. Again, guys are buying in. And my assistant I had no idea. Matt Figger had the scout for this game. He says we lead the A-10 in block shots. That's pretty good. I was just told that we're top 20.
Top 6 in block shots in the country.
Top 6 in the country. That means that we're starting, we talked about this before the year, that our rim coverage had to be better so it fits our defense better, the way we try to guard. Jay Curry's gotten better defensively. That's part of the journey. Now the season tries to get you away from who you need to be. The voices, the noise is always about, there's not one parent or one AAU coach that calls anyone on my team and says, hey man, you didn't rotate on the baseline. They all say, man, why are you passing up open shots? You gotta shoot the ball more, your numbers ain't good. That's a hard moment for a kid to comprehend, because those are people they trust, rightfully so. They're here because of people like that. But then I'm telling them, I don't care about that, bro. You gotta guard the ball and you gotta rotate defensively. And if you don't do that, we can't win. And if you can't guard your matchup, you got zero to ever play professionally. Anywhere, not the NBA, anywhere. And so that's a confusion state. So these guys, Rasul, you guys remember how bad he was defensively when he got here? Now Rasul's made himself a pretty good defender, and part of the deal. So those guys have all gotten better. We're a more connected team now. Now our ball pressure is good without fouling. We're protecting the rim, so it's made it harder. Now what we have to do is like today, we were sloppy on contested defensive rebounds. We gotta get better there. We can't keep fumbling balls on contested defensive rebounds. But we're getting better, but all this can change in 2 days. Like, you know, it's the hardest part of this business is that it's not easy. It gets harder. This is the time of year where everything separates. Thank you.